Hey guys, off MudMowers today. We're out on the HondaX4. Enjoy. Okay, I just got the Honda pushed in the garage, which is unusual. It usually drives everywhere. This thing's so hard to fit on the camera frame, but what I'm finding is that when I turn this key on, oh, I had to pull the brake, you're gonna see fuel is dripping, so it shouldn't be. See that brass looking thing there? Right there? That has got a hole on the bottom of it, which you can't really see. But that is, I believe, it's just a carburetor vent, and the float is stuck, so it's pulling fuel out of the vent. There's that tube, and usually it always floods into that tube. If it's flooding itself, it puts any extra fuel down this tube. This tube's going to the bottom of the carburetor. It runs down to some kind of little, like, evaporation kind of thing. This was actually original on this Honda for the old carburetor, so I just hooked it back up to that. But anyways, I just gotta pull 2 bolts off, those 2, so I can take this off, take the bolt off, and we can look at what's happening, because I let this thing sit since November. So fuel in these lawnmower carburetors and ATV carburetors do not go well with sitting. It comes up, it's got the ethanol in it, it just gums everything up when you let it sit. So what I need to do is, I need to run it, and then when I'm done, I come over here, and, well, it looks pretty hard too, but right where that piece of aluminum is behind this hose, there's a screw you turn, and it drains all of the fuel out of this hose. If I can't get to that screw, I'll probably just like shove a little shut-off valve, and then just turn the key on, let it run out of fuel while this is shut off. Or I could find the fuse that disables the fuel pump, which is probably way easier. But yeah, I'm gonna pull that off, and we're gonna get this thing running so we can take it out for a rip. Bam, that was easy. Okay, so as I was opening it, I noticed this this O-ring has a little bit of white stuff on it, which is probably just the fuel kind of gumming up, I should say. And as I expected, you can see that you get those weird looking things that just sit down there, and that's the bad fuel, the ethanol. Just kind of goes through and just kind of turns into whatever that is, I guess. That was expected, so I bet that this float jet here, this needle I should say, is probably gummed up with that stuff. That's why it's just spitting out fuel. So I'm going to take the float off, take that seal off so I don't get carburetor clean on that and make it all puffed up, because that would be really hard to get back together. And we'll get all of that stuff cleaned out, and this thing should be rocking then. Don't leave fuel in your bowls. Okay, we got the top cleaned up. There was a little bit of junk kind of in these kind of areas, I remember. Beautiful clean now. Sprayed these 2 jets out. This one is the main. It goes right up into there. And then the slide has that needle on the end. So it comes back down in here to the needle's right here, and when you give it gas, the slide goes up, letting more air in, and that needle comes up here, giving it more fuel. And I think that's the idle jet, and you can adjust that screw right there, which is on the outside of the bowl. It'd be right there. Most of it was way down in there, so you can see I got that cleaned out. Just use a pick and a screwdriver to take off any of that stuff. There's that screw I was talking about, which you can take that out, and you can see the head of the screw, that little gold thing down there. That lets the fuel come out. Everything's all bolted up now. I've got my hoses on, my vent on, these throttle cables on. What I want to check is the keys on. I want to check that the accelerator pump is doing its job, which it is. And usually that slide would be open, so that fuel just goes straight down the intake. Beautiful. Now that's all done, I'm going to throw this air filter back on, which literally just goes on like that. So now it's ready to run. Okay, with all the vitals checked, like the radiator fluid and the oil is all good. Really clean too. Was low on fuel, so this fuel thing told me, so I just filled it up. We'll go ahead and see if it's stowed. It might be a little bit flooded for me actuating the accelerator pump. We'll go ahead and see. Wow. See if we can. I haven't had it running like in a long time. Drive to some level ground here and see if I can idle. Oh yeah, it's still a bit cold. Okay, neutral. Now usually this clutch uses so much power it can't idle sometimes. See, it's idling mint actually. Dang, this thing's beautiful. Oh, just kidding. Okay. Yeah, it's running beautiful. So, we're gonna go hit the mud. Okay, here we go. I've got my boots on because you know we're gonna need them. Beautiful. Let's hit it. Okay then, that was maybe a flip. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of off MudMowers. I'm really glad we got the Honda going again. I shouldn't have let it set because it messed up the carburetor just a little bit, but that was such a simple fix. I'm glad that's all it took too. I'll show a video here of what happened to this axle on this side. I think it got bent in one of the mud holes today, which is no big. It usually bends and I have to go unbend it every time. But that axle is all twisted now, and it's also bent, so I can't wait to get a better axle. I'm going to do some research on what's a good axle to use. Nice 3/4 inch piece of steel rod. The shifter needs a little bit of improving. You can get it like stuck, like that one might be in like 5th and this one's in 6th. So it needs a little bit of improving. This is also neutral. It doesn't go to reverse. I think I had to cut this out, but I might redesign it so there's more flow. So it actually will go into reverse without having to cut this out, because then I can put that plate back on here. The nice thing is you don't have to use reverse because it never gets stuck. I'm not lying, but that's working okay. The clutch works pretty good, except if you're in like a deep mud hole in 1st gear, or you're trying to like go fast in 6th, and you just flow it, the clutch will slip a little bit. I don't blame it. That's a lot of stuff to be turning. So I have to work on maybe a 5/8 belt. That would be a lot of pulleys to change out to 5/8, all the idlers. In the back 2 stack pulley I have, it's a big cast iron double stack pulley, so the clutch runs down to it, and the second belt runs to the transmission on the front. And speaking of front transmission, I would like to turn this here, so this would be 2-wheel drive, and that would be 4-wheel drive, which wouldn't be too hard. There's an idler pulley right back in there. You can see the shininess of it. I'd probably get rid of that and make it on an arm instead. So in this cable, there's a cable in here, just runs up there and moves the arm, and it has a spring on it too. That'd be pretty simple to do. And tighten up the steering because it's a little bit sloppy, and I think some stuff just loosened up. I looked underneath. It needs some new bushings on the transmission case where it runs through. You can see that right there, and that arm over there is kind of, it's got a taper and a keyway on top of this up here, and I think that bolt probably backed out, so now the taper and the keyway are kind of getting loose. But yeah, very minor things to get down this thing. I hope I can get done here while we're in quarantine time. And this thing's also really fuel efficient. It's insane, especially for the power this thing has got. It's also got that really helpful fuel light. But yeah, this thing is so fun to drive. It cruises really good. It's awesome to drive around in the mud. You can't get it stuck. But you know what they say, they don't build them like they used to. Stay tuned for more.